Well, French Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne says the ruling administration is determined to accelerate the pension reform. The remarks coming after President Emmanuel Macron signed the controversial bill into law in the early hours of Saturday, leaving opposition parties livid. Well, here to give us a more intricate perspective on what to expect in the near future in France, I'm joined by Renaud Foucart, Senior Lecturer in Economics at Lancaster University. Renaud, I want to just find out from your perspective what we can expect in terms of protest action in the coming weeks following the signing into law.
So we are very close to the 1st of May, which is traditionally a very big demonstration day. So we have already a few demonstrations planned in the coming days. There will be a large demonstration on the 1st of May. But the fact of the matter is that given that Macron has been very quick at enacting the law, there is somehow relatively little to do unless you have this hope as a union that endless demonstration could somehow lead to something equivalent to what happened to the first job contract that was created 10 years ago. The only occasion, I think, was something was cancelled after many strikes. So I think a lot of demonstration up to the 1st of May, and maybe next opposition party trying to bank on the anger on the government to try to win the next election, which is the European election coming very soon.
Well, lots of anger, as you mentioned. I want to go back to the basics. Macron has repeatedly said this pension reform bill is necessary to get that pension shortfall sorted. Do you, as an economist, agree with this outlook?
As an economist, I agree that demography is what it is, and that in a way, if you don't raise somehow either the pension age or the number of years that people work, you need to finance it in another way. And the opposition is not saying differently when they at the moment are pushing for a referendum in which they say we need to keep the pension age at 62, but we're going to increase taxes instead. So that is not the question. The question was the way Macron did it. I think it was not a very smart reform. It was a reform that was largely unfair in the sense that it was treated badly people who started to work earlier or women, but in the end about the fact that there is a cost to public fund and that somehow it made sense to make people work a bit longer. This was not so different from what François Hollande did, and it was also part of Emmanuel Macron's job of showing that he's a responsible leader, and that's also the way he's now such a senior politician in Europe and such an important voice on the European stage, is because he always keeps this idea that he's serious with public funds. So was it a good reform? I don't think so. Was it a necessary reform? Some form of increase in pension contribution made sense unless you wanted to have more taxes or lower public spending.
Renaud Foucart, thank you so much for joining us. Renaud Foucart, professor at Lancaster University of Economics.